Hi guys, this is our second pitch for our project Vicious. In terms of Sam, we've decided to add a monologue. In this monologue, Samson, our main character, will be talking about his life experiences and he will be giving a brief overview of everything. The whole purpose of the dialogue will be to break the fourth wall between the audience and the characters.
Okay, so our plot begins with scene 1. This scene begins with our protagonist Samson. He's walking outside of an estate where he meets an additional character who happens to be a drug dealer. In this particular scene, we want to take elevated shots of floors of the estate building, so we get a sense of the kind of gritty, harsh environment he's in, and kind of achieve the gritty youth crime genre that we plan on achieving. And then we plan on using a transition of him walking, looking at the ground, and then from looking at the ground we transition into our next scene, which is a flashback with our main character Samson exercising in the same area, tilting from the ground, so we get the next scene. And scene 3, we begin with our character is returning back to the apartment. At this point we've gone back to where he was in the beginning, and he has the drugs in hand. Here we plan on using different jump cuts to speed up kind of him walking into the building. So we have jump cuts of him walking up the stairs, and then we cut back onto him entering his house, and then we use a match on action of filming him walking into one side of the door, out from the next. He then walks into his bedroom, organises the drugs on the table with a mirror adjacent, and we want to use the mirror to create reflection shots of him actually organising the drugs and possibly taking them. And then the transition, we're not too sure if we want to use this many transitions, but one idea we had was to use the powdered drugs that he organised on the table and then zooming out to create the effect that he's zoomed into another scene, which is him in another drug-fueled environment taking drugs with other characters. In our fifth scene, we want to return back to the present, where he's still in his flat, and there's an additional character banging angrily at the door, and he's still dazed on the drugs. And then we wanted to have off-screen diegetic shouting in the background, and then we used his haziness to transition into the next scene. This is the scene where we wanted to exhibit the kind of parkour skills to create the kind of intense urgency speed, and we want him running away from the police. In the seventh scene, we still wanted him dazed on the drugs. At this point, we wanted to speed ramp the scenes, create this sense of urgency and intensity again, and the music would match that also. And then in the last scene, we wanted to slow it down, to not give too much away, where he kind of comes across a dilemma that we didn't want to reveal completely to the audience. But it's him having a diegetic conversation with his mother, and then he leaves the house and we don't really know where he's gone.
Right, settings. For our first scene, our establishing shots will be in Branch Place in North London. I've chosen this space specifically because it shows that our plot is based on today and it's an urban setting. For our flashbacks, in terms of Samson having a positive future, we've chosen Haggiston Park. Here we're going to have loads of different shots and angles where we can place the cameras in different heights and levels. For our third scene, it will be set in a bedroom where Samson will be taking drugs. Scene 5 will be set in a drug environment. So for this I found the warehouse in Edmonton. That does allow us to use the area. And for scene 7, I've chosen Lake Street Tunnel, also known as the Graffiti Tunnel. And this is going to be the area where Samson works around with his parkour skills.
Okay, so from our questionnaire we created a graph. So the question was, in terms of narrative, should the protagonist have a good or bad part? So most of, from you can see from the graph, most people picked the good part. So we decided to go with this to show that the contrast between his life then and now. So question, what location would prove more effective to film a hostile drug scene, a warehouse, alleyway, car cluster. So from the pie chart, we can see that 50% of the votes prefer to use a warehouse as a location. So, but we're gonna use that, but we're also gonna use like a flat to show like that he's a normal teenager and he's like influenced by his environment and the people he's surrounded with. Question: what camera shots and angles would you suggest for chasing? So we decided to use different shots and angles, but we don't want to stick to one, which is a bit too simple and plain. That's not going to be really interesting. So we gonna like use like a long shot to show like his surroundings and where the action is taking place. And yeah. So do you think do you think it's practical to use people who specialize in parkour? So from the graph, you can see that more people prefer like to use someone who specializes in parkour because it kind of adds to the speed and pace of the scene. So it's kind of it's going to make it much more interesting. Yeah, so it's good. Do you think we should have the titling at the start, end, or throughout the shots? Most people prefer to have the titling at the end, so we are gonna go with this because that kind of makes it so you kind of like want to know what the name of the film is, because you kind of all that scenes and shots kind of make you a bit confused until you know what the name of the film is, so you kind of get the idea. That makes sense.
Thanks, Lady. Do we have questions for this group, guys? Can we just record the questions as well?
Yeah.
So you have quite a lot of different locations, right? How are you going to be able to construct this within 2 minutes and 20 seconds without it like looking like you're just jumping from scene to scene, like from location to location?
Well, with the benefit we had, we actually planned out, we have an idea of what the whole film is going to be, as well as making a long and detailed opening, so we have the choice of cutting out transitions, and we have loads of different options. Plus, because the locations kind of have the same theme, we can still keep the same idea without confusing the audience too much. Okay.
Similar to Noel's point, do you not feel like you're giving away too much? Because like from the amount of scenes I saw, it's like you're showing us maybe the whole story instead of just showing us the brief opening.
In terms of the scenes that we've shown already, it's supposed to be almost like a teaser, so we're going to cut it off at his wake-up call, and in which point where the transitions would come in, not the transitions, the titlings would come in, and the film's name would be shown, so it would say Vicious, and then the film will actually start at that point where it's not so much of teasers and it's the actual plot base.
I wondered about the ending, where you're going to end it, guys, because you said he has this conversation with his mum, and then you're going to end it. But before that, you've had probably quite an intense chase scene, and I wondered if you needed that last section with his mum, or whether that's enough just to know that someone's knocked on his door, he's being chased and kind of hunted down, and whether you could just leave it in the chase scene, whether you need to go back to his mum, or whether that will, I don't know, change the delivery. Maybe.
Yeah.
But think about the intensity, and when you storyboard it, like, do you need that to convey that he's in a dilemma and something's going horribly wrong with his mum?
Yeah.
Any more questions, guys? We need lots of risk assessment for places that you're working, and obviously the drug-related things you're going to need to support with, you know, where you've got your inspiration from, and how, you know how it all works. You've got to do loads of risk assessment for that.
Yes.